Okay, back in ZBrush, let's hop over to the beads of the loincloth, because if we finish these, we'll have the texture finished for the accessories. So I'm just going to go to all high, make sure everything is the highest subdivision level, so I don't accidentally paint it too low, at the low res. And I'm going to hide this other stuff. Let's get this one kicked off. So let's see here. Let's go redock our color. And in our concept, we had kind of like a bone kind of color. All right, let's fill that. And then I'm going to do a darker version of this. Don't think these have polygroups, so let's go to auto groups. There we go. And I'm just going to actually just go to fill object. And I'm just going to go in here. Actually, let's make this a little bit darker. I'm going to pick some random ones here. And I'm going to make sure I have a little bit of variety in the color this way. So just like that. Just a couple of times. I don't want to veer away from the color scheme that we have. And then after that we'll put a texture on. So let's do... Yeah, that should work. Let's just put a little bit of some sort of I don't know, stony kind of thing. Just checking out my options. This one might work right here. And maybe this guy too. Just need something to kind of overlay on top. And okay. Actually, we'll prepare that for the next part, because if I do it now, it's just going to overwrite this color. And you know what? Let's just make it a dark version of that. And we'll do a brush, alpha and texture, polypaint mode. We'll go to multiply. Just doing some random painting on here. I'm just going to have to just stroke it on here. All I'm trying to do is just add a little bit of surface variety. That's all I really want. So I'll spend a little bit of time on the first one just to kind of figure out what I really want to do. See if I change it to, oops, let's change it to the darken. Pretty much it's the same effect, doesn't it? It looks like it's trying to keep the color there. Okay. That way we zoom out, everything looks pretty much, you know, thought out and stuff. Looks like I need to paint these little knots in here too. And I do believe those are on the loincloth map. We'll get back to those in a bit. Let's just continue on with beads. So I'll just repeat that whole process over the entire set of beads. And before you know it, we'll have everything we need for the beads. So the beads have been tedious this whole time during the sculpting and everything and copying them around, but I think it's going to be some important addition here. So I'm going to just take the time to go in here and do each one of these and show it off after. So here we have the final beads. Pretty much the same effect all the way around. Just lots of different varying colors. At least that was the idea. And different values. Nothing too mind-blowing there. Just try to get a little bit of variety and variation. So same thing up here. We need to do the necklace area, which is obviously still all white because we haven't done anything to it yet. So let's start off with the actual necklace parts, like the innermost two, I should say. And same approach here, same thing as the beads. Gonna find a good color that'll work. And let's actually go a little brighter than this. We do the same thing for this one, just so you have the same color kind of going throughout. And this time on the concept we have the beads that are, the smaller ones are going to be darker. So we'll have to go in there and do those isolated. So to do that, we need polygroups. So we will do auto. Let it figure it out here. Lots of elements to work with. So there you go, there's one. And do the same thing for the other one. And like I said before with the beads, the reason we do the polygroups is so it's easy to hide and unhide things. If I had it symmetrical, I could make each bead symmetrical polygroups and stuff, but that's okay for now. We're just going to do things a little bit different. So I'm going to go by here. I'm going to go down to the lowest level, just make things faster. I'm going to go and hide all the long ones. Just doing Control Shift and then tapping on each one of them. Alright, I'm going to turn off the polyframe, but first I'm going to move up to the highest level by hitting D until it goes all the way up. And then I'm going to change the color and make it like a real dark brown. I'll just fill that, and I can Control Shift tap again and unhide everything. You can see what it's done. Before that, I'm actually going to make these a polygroup. So we'll do group visible. So you see those are back to normal, and then we'll do group visible to these. So we'll have two different polygroups. That way we don't have a polygroup for every single individual. And it'll alt click on that guy. Same thing here. Just go turn off symmetry and just start hiding. Let me do the same low res. Okay, there we go. There we go. And we'll group visible. Climb up to the very top. Hit fill object. Switch it. And then group visible again. Let's make it a different color though. We'll just hit it a couple times, it'll give me a different color. Okay. So we're pretty much ready to go. We just need to do the that effect we had with the alphas. And we'll just drag that on here. I'll try it with a spray this time and see if that looks any better. So for now I'm just going to work with this polygroup. It's working okay, I suppose. Tell you what, let's switch the color and let's go to the brush. Put on multiply, which is at number 3. I'll just go a little bit darker. And I'm just going to paint capture that color, put in my alternate so I can erase that out. Of course I'll be a multiply layer still, so let's just go with colors. Make this a little bit darker. And I can alt to paint it out. There we go. It's kind of more the effect I wanted. And I'll just do this along every single one of these. I probably won't put much on the undersides since you won't really see that part of the necklace. I was going to hide it to kind of get the effect, see what I'm looking at. So far so good. So it's not really an occlusion kind of effect, but it's more like a worn, I don't know if these are bone or what, but just some sort of aged thing. Another rinse and repeat kind of thing. Not really a rinse, I guess, just a repeat. If I was rinsing, I'd be probably erasing. You get the idea. Just go along here, doing pretty quick. Nothing. These are pretty small objects. It's not going to be really the focus of the character here. I just need to give a little bit of variation to it. So this is more like the value treatment. Try and get things like, to pop. And I'll do that to this guy as well, since I'm in the mode already. I've got the colors picked. Might as well just kind of stick with what we're going with. I'll turn on symmetry and see if it can keep up. Looks like it is. Around the circle we go. I like to do a lot of this poly painting rather than a lot of texture painting, especially in these smaller objects, because sometimes the textures don't hold up very well. with the UV space they're using. So I just kind of poly paint this on. And it still may look a little low res in the final texture once we export this to a texture map. Because right now we're just in poly painting mode. This isn't the texture map yet. It hasn't been put to coordinates. That's when we'll know how it really looks.